Well, as I always say, Mondays are always the most boring day starting the week. But however, on this particular day on our episode, as you all know, I try to keep up also with MARIGOLD with their annual round robin tournament, the Dream Star Grand Prix. However, they're not the only promotion in Japan that I'm trying to keep up with the round robin tournament. The other one, of course, is Pro Wrestling Noah with their annual N-1 victory. So today we're going to be reviewing three of them. Is day 3, day 4, and day 5. So as you all know, I already reviewed, of course, the first 2 days, the opening round and the second day. So I thought, you know what? Let's get it over with as soon as possible before it's too late. So as of right now, that's what we're going to do. And then as always, we'll cap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So as I mentioned, it's all about Pro Wrestling Noah and the N-1 victory. So let's begin with day 3. Alrighty then, so, as I mentioned, Pro Wrestling Noah, the N-1 victory. Now for those who are not familiarized with this, let me give you guys a brief detail what it is. The N-1 victory is their annual round robin tournament. It's the same as the G1, of course, where you get, if you win a match, you get 2 points. Lose a match, 0. However, in a situation, it's either in a time limit draw or double count out, you get, of course, 1 point each. And the winner of the tournament will face off against the GHC heavyweight champion, who is currently, right now, Kenta. Now, the question many of you may ask about that, what if the champion wins the tournament? Well, he gets to pick his opponent, so that's very much a fair deal. So far, we already reviewed, of course, the opening round and day 2. But let's get started with day 3. Now, this event happened, of course, on the 13th of September in Hiroshima. First, we have our non-tournament matches. First, we have a 6-man tag team match. We have Hayata teaming up with the members of All Rebellion consistent of Kai Fujimura and Alejandro, taking on Juta Miyawaki, Dragon Bane, and Alpha Wolf, who both are, as you know, both Dragon and Alpha are in fact brothers, and the current GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. So you probably can put that into perspective. So the match was pretty good, not gonna lie, but the only thing I was a bit more concerned is Hayata. Hayata can actually play a little by the rules type, or sometimes he'll just break the rules. That's always been one of the things I have noticed. But however, that wasn't the case in this one, because Hayata was able to pick up a victory when he applied a DDT onto Miyawaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now our next match, we have of course Blackman Suri teaming up with Amasuka versus Daiki Odishima and Harutoki, and versus Sushi Kotoge and Hajime Ohara. Now, of course, many of you may or may not know this. Harutoki was supposed to face Ozawa on this particular day, but due to the nature of Ozawa being injured on day 1, which was the opening round, the match was forfeit, so basically Harutoki received 2 points. So that's the reason he ended up in this match. But of course, when it comes to 3-ways, you know it's unpredictable. You don't know exactly where this match is definitely going to go. I mean, there are a lot of good talent in this one, but the one thing I've always considered was Odishima, who is in fact a young boy. Basically, he is still on the learning curve, but you probably would expect that he'd be the one to take the fall. Well, it wasn't him. It was his tag partner, in fact, who was able to counter a crossbody by Blackman Suri, and just like that, Harutoki picked up the win with the 1, 2, 3, over. Now, let's jump into the N-1 victory matches, starting with, of course, 2 matches of the B block. We have Daiki Inaba versus Galeno del Mal. Many of you know who Galeno del Mal is. He is the brother of Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., but also his dad is known as Dr. Wagner Jr., and of course his mom, many of you know who she is, Rossi Romero, and not to mention his grandfather, the original Dr. Wagner. So you probably know the lineage. But of course, Daiki Inaba has to face a much bigger competitor. Of course, many Japanese wrestlers can try to take them out, but however, Galeno del Mal is the kind of person who is impossible to try to take down. But at the same time, you know he's trying to live up and try to follow the footsteps of his big brother, who actually was, in fact, the first ever Mexican GHC heavyweight champion. And that's exactly what he's attempting to do. But he was able to pick up the victory with this move, or I don't know what he calls it, but it was a very effective one, and picked up the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, it was over. He gained his next 2 points with the total points of 4, leaving Daiki Inaba with 2. Now, continuing with the B block, we have Jack Morrison taking on the genius of the Arc, Naomichi Marufuji. For many of you may ask me, why do they call Naomichi Marufuji the genius of the Arc? Well, A, because many of you may know this, he was one of the OGs of Noah when they first started out. He and Kenta, along with Misawa and a few others, but they were what made Pro Wrestling Noah what it was. But at the same time, you probably would have assumed, because Naomichi Marufuji is well recognized, he was going to pick up the win. But nope, Jack Morrison was able to pull up an upset onto him when he applied a Tiger Driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. He gained his next 2 points with the total points of 6, leaving, of course, Naomichi Marufuji with the total points of 4. Now, our next 3 matches are part of the A block. First, we have Daga versus Kenta. Now, Kenta has not had a good, easy start for him during the first 2 days of the N-1 victory. So he lost, of course, and now the real question, what's going to happen? Well, however, Daga, as you know, as a member of Team 2000X, well, of course, Yoshitatsu got involved on 2 occasions. But the second time, well, apparently he got taken out by accident by Daga. Thank you, of course, Daga. But that gave, of course, for Kenta to apply the go to sleep. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Masa Kirimiya taking on Oka Zazaki. Now, of course, Masa Kitamiya made you already know this, that he is also a member of Team 200X. Basically, they're trying to determine to pick up the win. However, of course, this match took a turn when Tadasuke, who's also a member of Team 200X, he decided to get himself involved and toss a chair to Masa Kitamiya and whack Okazaki for that and disqualified himself, giving, of course, Okazaki the win and 2 points, leaving Masa Kitamiya with just 4. However, during post-match, they decided to bring on the hurt onto Sasaki, and then, of course, the ref tried to tell him, calm down, dude, calm down. But nope, Kitamiya is making a statement, so we'll see what happens until then. Now, our last one, our main event, we have Kazuyuki Fujita taking on Manabu Soya. So this was a match which is going to be interesting. The battle of the hosses. These two guys are powerhouses. So the audience questioning who is going to walk away. I mean, Manabu Soya, he is a very fantastic wrestler, not to mention a great powerhouse. But when it comes to Kazuyuki Fujita, he's a monster. You know, he would definitely try to put you down. All he needs is a sip of alcohol, and that's it. And he picks up his win. And that's exactly what he did when he applied a powerbomb onto Manabu Soya. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. So he picked up the win, leaving him with the total points of 6, leaving Manabu Soya with the total points of 2. So that's pretty much what happened on day 3 of the N-1 victory by Pro Wrestling Noah. So let's move on with more with Noah. With the N-1 victory with day 4. Okay, day 4 of the N-1 victory by Pro Wrestling Noah. This happened, of course, on the 14th of September, and this was at the Acros Fukuoka Event Hall, and of course, in the city of Fukuoka. Many of you may know that place. If you're big fans of Stardom, you know that that's the home of both Azuki and Kokoma, and not to mention Maika. So, just putting it out there for all of you. However, many of you know this. I mentioned earlier that Ozawa, who was out of action due to an injury, all his matches are forfeited. So they mentioned that he was supposed to face against Galeno de Mal. So because of his injury, Galeno de Mal won this match by forfeit with the total points now of 6 on this point. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. Now, let's get to it, of course, with the matches, starting with the non-N1 victory matches. The first match, we have Daiki Odishima. He teams up with the members of All Rebellion, Kai Fujimura, and Alejandro. They take on Dragon Bane, Alpha Wolf, and Galeno de Mal. Now, 2 factors you should know on this one. If you guys notice, this became a situation of Japan versus Mexico, that sort of thing. But one thing is also interesting for those who don't know, even though I have not been following Noah that much, that Galeno de Mal is a member of All Rebellion. So it's kind of interesting that he is on the opposite side from his teammates, you know, and that's something that, of course, many of you may ask, like, why isn't he opposite side if he's teammates with them? Well, that's how it is, however they booked it. But however, you would have assumed that because he will hold back against his own teammates. Well, no, he didn't. He actually went through. But the one thing that really messed up was the miscommunication between both Galeno and the 2 brothers, Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane, because there was a moment where Galeno de Mal accidentally got Alpha Wolf, and of course, Alejandro pinned Alpha Wolf with the jackknife, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, of course, there was a bit of like back and forth between Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf, and of course Galeno de Mal. But of course, our rebellion were trying to go on, settle down. You know, of course, Galeno de Mal will always consider all rebellion his friends, his actual friends. You know, that he has in Japan. So it would make sense, but you probably can tell that this is not over by a long shot between Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf with Galeno. Now, our next match, we have Blackman Suri and Junta Miyawaki. They take on Team 200X, consisting of Tadasuke and Takashi Sugiura. So basically, as you know, Team 200X are the heel faction in, of course, in Noah, and they're determined to conquer all of Noah ever since they were formed. But of course, you know, you have guys that would cheat their way through. However, it was Blackman Suri who ended up on the wrong side of an ankle lock by Taichi Sugiura, and just like that, he tapped out. It was over. So, Team 200X, 2000X actually won the match. So that's pretty much over right there. Now, let's start with the N-1 victory matches, starting with the B block, and we have 3 matches coming from that. The first one, we have Daiki Inaba versus Naomichi Marufuji. So, of course, Daiki Inaba, I'm not going to lie, he is a very interesting wrestler. We have seen him grown so much. But as you know, with Naomichi Marufuji, who has been well recognized in Noah, basically, you know his game. But he was able to pick up the victory when he applied a somewhat of a knee strike to the temple of Inaba. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he gained his next 2 points with the total points of 6. Now, our next match, we have Ricky Knight Jr. Many of you may know him as the nephew of Saraya, or also known as in WWE Paige. So he's part of the Knight family. If you guys seen the biopic of Fighting with My Family, so you probably can guess. He faced against Haru Toki. So basically nothing too special about that match. But in the end, it was Ricky Knight Jr. who walked away with the win when he applied a 450 splash. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So he gets 2 more points with a total points of 4, leaving Harutoki with just 2. Now, our last match involving the B block, we have Jack Morrison versus Keno. Now, Keno, as you know, did not have a good start in the opening round and day 2 of the N1 victory. He faces against a guy who many people could say he could possibly win this tournament. He's facing against one of the toughest SOBs on the planet, Keno. And of course, you know Keno. He doesn't take crap from anybody, especially for those if they're trying to be his friend. But he never holds back. But in the end, he applied the best foot stomp ever onto Jack Morrison. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he finally gets his 2 points. But Jack Morrison remains with the total points of 6. Now, our next 3 matches are part of the B block of the N1 victory, so let's get started, finish up with that. Our first match of that, we have Tetsuya Endo taking on Manabu Soya. Now, for those who know who Tetsuya Endo is, he was, of course, part of DDT Pro Wrestling, and then later he joined a Team 200X to go on his own. But now he's going to shine his moment over, and of course, you wouldn't expect a whole lot. Manabu Soya is a strong competitor. We have seen him how he picked up victories, but in the end, it was Tetsuya Endo who picked up the victory by a pinfall, and just 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we had Kazuyuki Fujita taking on Keito Kiyomiya, who has been known as the Supernova, and of course, the guy who is trying to put Noah on the map. But in the end, you cannot stop like Fujita, who is in fact a monster that you cannot put down, and he was able to put down Kiyomiya with a power bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Fujita ended up with the total points of 8, leaving Kiyomiya with just 2. Now, our main event is, of course, between Masa Kitamiya and Kenta. Now, of course, it's no secret exactly what's going to happen. Masa Kitamiya, even the fact if he does not win the tournament, he could actually challenge Kenta. Now, of course, Kenta had to deal with some unprovoked advances from Tadasuke, who gets involved first with the chair, and then, of course, Kenta had to get rid of his sorry ass out of the way, and that's exactly what he did. And then, however, Kenta was unable to put Masa Kitamiya to go to sleep, so he put him in an inside cradle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. He got his next 2 points with the total points of 4, leaving Masa Kitamiya with just 4 as well. So I have to say it was a pretty good event. I liked it. It was pretty good. So I think we're done with day 5 of this one. Yeah, day four. Let's move on to our last and final review, continuing with more with Noah and the N-1 victory with day 5. Okay, last review. As we continue with more with Pro Wrestling Noah and the N-1 victory, we are now in day 5, and this happened at the Kumamoto uh, something Civic Center in Kumamoto. I don't know what that is, where that is, but yes. So let's get started. Of course, just to let you guys know, they did not mention exactly the match that Ozawa was supposed to have, even though he was all his matches are now forfeited. So that is still unclear, but we'll see. Now, anyway, uh, we have 2 matches, our non N1 victory matches. Uh, the first one we have Amakusa and Yunta Miyawaki. They take on Muhammad Yane and, of course, the returning Go Shiozaki. Many of you who know he was out of action due to an injury, and now he's back, and he's determined to, of course, take matters in his own hands. And I thought the match was pretty cool. I mean, the thing is this, Amasuka and Junta Miyawaki are junior heavyweight competitors, but when it comes to Muhammad Yane and Go Shiozaki, they're heavyweights. Many people would say due factors that heavyweight competitors will probably win. If somehow you are a skilled junior heavyweight, you could actually defeat them. But in this case, it was Go Shiozaki with a lariat onto Miyawaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our last match of the non-tournament, we have Daiki Odashima. He teams up with Kai Fujimura, taking on Black Mensuri and Naomichi Marufuji. So, of course, like any other match, we would assume that Odashima, he is the young blood, the young boy here who might lose the match. But however, that wasn't the case. It was what's his name, Miyawaki Fujimura, who picked up the win when he pinned Black Mensuri, which was really upsetting right there. But the job was done. Now, our next 2 matches are part of the N1 Victory B block. We have Orituki versus Jack Morrison. Now, of course, I did mention that part of me would think that Jack Morrison is a future wrestler who could be the next Gaijin to pick to win the tournament. That's something I would look forward to it. It was a pretty good match until, of course, Jack Morrison was able to walk away with the win when he applied the Tiger Driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now we continue with more of the B block. We have Ricky Knight Jr. taking on Galeno de Ma. Now, of course, Ricky has been very impressive so far, but with Galeno, you know the history about him, about his family lineage. Not to mention, he is determined to follow his big brother's footsteps, and that's exactly what he intends to do. But he was able to apply that one finishing move that I don't even know what to call it. That's how he picked up his next 2 win with the total points of 5, I believe. And just like that, 6, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now jumping into the A block, we have a bit of a showdown between both Team 200X, Daga versus Masa Kitamiya. So basically, you know the situation. Masa has Tadasuke by his side. Daga has Yoshitatsu by his side. There's going to be a lot of interference coming from both sides. That's one of the factors that could play out. And of course, the person who walked out with the win was Masa Kitamiya with the submission. And then, of course, like when it comes to factions, when you face each other, you just hug it out, kiss and make up, and everybody's good, just like that. But however, Masa received 6 points, leaving Daga still at the bottom with just 2. Now, our next match is back to the B block. We have Daiki Inaba versus Keno. As I mentioned before, Keno is an SOB. One of the toughest SOBs, I mentioned. So you probably can guess this is going to be in his favor. I mean, Daiki Inaba, he is an interesting wrestler, but he is not yet giving me the high hopes that I'm looking for. But Keno was able to, of course, pick up the victory when he applied a crossface And just like that, he just tapped out. It was over, leaving him, Keno, with 2 more points with the total points of 4, leaving Inaba with just 2. Now, our last 2 matches are from the B block. We have Oka Sasaki versus Kato Kiyomiya. So, of course, these guys have not progressed any well enough as we begin. But, however, Oka Sasaki, we know he's an excellent former MMA fighter. You know he can do the job. But Kiyomiya is a well-recognized wrestler who has been trying to take Noah to the top. But he was able to pick up the victory when he applied an elbow drop onto Sasaki. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Last match, we had Tetsuya Endo taking Kazuyuki Fujita. Now, Fujita has been so far unstoppable this entire time of the tournament. But I have to say, I did not anticipate Endo to pick up the win by, of course, when he defeated Kazuyuki with an unusual unorthodox wrestling a move that's been known, the crucifix, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. He gained 2 more points with a total of 6, leaving Fujita with only 8. So this will be I would like to say that maybe this could be Fujita's first match of his loss, because he was undefeated. So we'll see how things will progress with them as we go. So as of right now, we are done with all of Pro Wrestling Noahs that we have at the moment. There are still more to come, but that's for another time. But as of right now, let's finish this episode with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin, of course, as always, with upcoming events. MLW, as you know, have their upcoming event on the 4th of October, Slaughterhouse in Long Beach, California. And they just mentioned a match for the 2025 Opera Cup Tournament quarterfinals. They announced Satoshi Kojima will take on one half of the MLW World Tag Team Champions, Bishop Dyer, who many of you now formerly know him as Baron Corbin. So yeah, so that will be the match. New show alert coming from Seattle-based promotion DEFY Wrestling. They announced their next show on the 24th of October for the first time ever in Portland, Oregon. This one's called Wraith. So it's still unclear who will participate, but as we go, we'll find out soon enough. Now, as you all know, Prestige Wrestling has announced they got 4 more shows before they will go on their hiatus. Amongst them is called Big Kiss Good Night, and this will happen on the 2nd of November. So we haven't known yet who's going to participate, but yes. Now, speaking of Prestige Wrestling, as you know, they've been collaborating with West Coast Pro. They have their upcoming event known as Strength Beyond Strength on the 7th of November. I'm going to presume that this could be part of their shows they will do before they go on hiatus. They just announced that the West Coast Pro Women's World title will be on the line. Johnny Robbie will defend her championship against MIRAI. Now, on to some developments here. An interesting development made by Kylie Rae. Appeared now that Kylie Rae has vacated the WWE ID Women's Championship. And the reasons for that, well, congratulations, Kylie Rae, on your pregnancy. As you all know, she's pregnant again for the 2nd time. And we don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure we will hear from Triple H or someone to let us know what's the state of this championship. We know that there was supposed to be this one person challenging Kylie Rae, but we'll just wait and see. Blue Panther is now the new MLW National Openweight Champion. He defeated Ultimo Guerrero, but did not happen in an MLW event. It happened in a CML event. I don't know when did that happen, but congratulations, Blue Panther. TNA announced for their upcoming Bound for Glory for the Hall of Fame taking place. They nominated, of course, Hardcore Country. Yep, Mickie James will be now inducted. So congratulations, Mickie, on that. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Now, many of you remember I mentioned that MIRAI will be departing from MARIGOLD on October 13th. Now, she did give her explanation a little bit on the reason. It's like she feels like, her at pro wrestling was something that it wasn't long term, but she wanted to do things that she can do before she retires. But there is one thing she is definitely going to do, is to wrestle overseas. It's still unclear with who. We don't know if it's mostly from like for independent promotions, but if she does, the one person I'm sure will help her out will be none other than Sumi Sakai. Many of you who don't know this, Sumi Sakai has been well recognized to help Yoshi wrestlers and other Japanese wrestlers to when they're overseas in the U.S. and she handles their bookings. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But let's just see what happens. Adriana Rizzo, many of you may know her, that she was part of the D'Angelo family. Well, it's just been revealed that she is now dating fellow NXT member Cutler James of the Dark State. So many of you may question, what? Yeah, so apparently, Adriana Rizzo was not interested at first, but of course, at some point, she just gave in. So yeah, now they're dating. And then finally, this one's an interesting one. Many of you may not know who this person is. Ross Hart. If you guys don't know who he is, he's also one of 12 children from the late and legendary Stu Hart, and he is the brother of Bret the Hitman Hart. Ross was initially talking about his niece. Many of you know her, Natalya, or as we know her, Natalya Neidhart. Talking about her character change, basically, as you know, we've seen her, how she developed into a new character recently. And of course, he said something that this is a character I think many people were hoping to see, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. I mean, I know that the Hart family are very proud of her for what she has accomplished. I know there's more she can accomplish as well. But we will see what happens until then. But as of right now, we are officially done with this. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT taking place. This is where, of course, we have the TNA World Championship and the NXT Championship on the line in a winner takes all. So, who's going to walk out as double champion? Will it be Trick Williams or Obafemi? That is something we do know. However, there's a part of me would like to think that maybe TNA roster are going to invade NXT to prevent this from happening. I don't know. That's something that could possibly take place, but we'll just have to wait and see. If there's any other events, I would do it. I am considering try to catch up with Stardom. There are some shows I haven't seen yet. The one that I can't find right now is on September 20th. I may do that another time, but we'll see, depending on how I do things. But as of right now, we'll leave that as it is. But as the top priority is NXT, and that's pretty much it. So as of right now, I will say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I'm going to bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!